is a Mindful Monday, and we are talking about seasonal affective disorder, sometimes called SAD, and Dr. Corey Gonzalez is joining us this morning to talk about this recurring depressive disorder that happens because of these shorter, darker winter days. Corey, thanks for coming in. Great to see you, sir.
Good morning, Maddie. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well.
Good.
Feeling a little bit of this, I suspect, actually. Over this weekend, I was just like, why don't I feel like doing anything? One of your symptoms is eating a lot of carbs. I may have been doing that. Did not help my situation much. First, tell us, what is seasonal affective disorder?
So seasonal affective disorder is not necessarily just the winter type. It's a certain season. It has to go on 2 consecutive years where it starts and ends during that season. Most commonly is winter. It can be summer as well. But in the wintertime, like you said, shorter days, lack of sunlight, people have overindulged and overextended for the holidays, and so they have a problem. And what happens is your whole biological clock goes off. It's disrupted from a lack of sunlight. Your circadian rhythm, which is your sleep-wake cycle, gets disrupted. And sometimes the theory is it causes deficiency in serotonin, melatonin, and serotonin is a mood elevating transmitter, melatonin for sleep, and vitamin D.
Okay.
So these things can happen. It usually resolves itself when springtime starts, and the symptoms of wintertime SAD is very different the summertime.
Okay, what are the symptoms?
Well, the wintertime you're more sluggish. You sleep more, you're eating more like you mentioned, you have apathy, you're not interested in normal activities you just don't have the energy you normally have. Yeah, so you're sort of more depressed, more melancholy, and so those are the symptoms of the wintertime.
And this is because we're not getting enough sun?
Correct, and it's interesting because places that are further away from the equator tend to have this. In Alaska, and Kevin's talking about Seattle, certain places away from the equator tend to have these fluctuations in their times of day and sunlight. Hawaii is right at the equator. They don't seem to have this problem.
You get lots of sun, right?
It's more consistent, yeah.
And it's because the sun actually helps produce those things, the serotonin, vitamin D, that we need, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
The UV, the ultraviolet rays from the sun, yeah.
Okay, so what should I do? What should anyone else do who is feeling some of the effects here?
Well, it's interesting because one of the first lines of treatment, Maddie, is phototherapy, which is light therapy.
How does that work?
Yeah, well, it's a lamp that has a UV rating, an ultraviolet rating, and you can buy them, you can get them online. They're very cheap. No one talks about them because they're inexpensive, and Big Pharma doesn't make any money off these things. But if you look at the results in these things, actually they're very comparable to medication, actually even better.
Okay, so how do you use them?
So you use them in the morning, early in the morning, first 2 hours of awakening. A few feet away. And you do about an hour. Folks, and I actually have one at home. I do it when I'm doing telemedicine. I have one on me all the time.
All right.
So when you're in the house, it's a little dark.
Do you have to worry about getting sunburn from these?
No. It gives you, but it does give you vitamin D. It does help you with some of these residual effects.
So interesting.
The theory is the retina dilates when you have this kind of ultraviolet ray, and it creates serotonin in the brain. So using this really helps produce these things, and it helps produce vitamin D.
All right, really quickly, what are the other ways we can help treat this?
Psychotherapy is another way. Defining some of your and changing some of your negative thoughts and distortions, positive associations of wintertime, not avoiding things, setting attainable goals, self-care, right? Get out, be active, make a trip, exercise. You and I have talked about DOSE, the acronym, right? Dopamine, by getting good night's sleep, listening to music, oxytocin from the love hormone, from touch and hugs and being kind, serotonin from exercising in the sun, endorphins are natural painkiller from taking baths, laughter, yoga, so forth. Medication and possibly vitamin D are also alternatives.
So some cheap, easy things that we can do at home to help ourselves.
Lots of things you can do.
All right.
Be mindful. If you see yourself having this problem consecutive, 2 years in a row, it starts and stops during that season, be proactive.
Okay, lots of things that we can do. Really easy too.
Yeah.
Dr. Corey Gonzalez, thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Always a pleasure, Maddie.
We'll be right back.